Alrighty. So we got our for our high school league team, we got our streaming set up. So what I want to do is kind of come over now that we've already kind of finished our games and do a just kind of like a test recording, kind of like a shoutcast slash almost like a VOD review, just to kind of give it a go. So we'll go ahead and jump in. The first game, we didn't have the feed from our mid laner. I think that was it, but in the second game we do. So we were playing Parkview here. So Calhoun versus Parkview. We went ahead and dropped their Zed, Udyr, and the Fury. And they dropped... I already forgot the new dragon's name. And the Lysandra. I guess they missed their third ban. Let's see. We went ahead and scooped the Morgana first pick. Akali Scion. We grabbed Talon. Varus. We knew they had a Varus player. Went ahead and grabbed that. We got Zeri Karma. And then last we go ahead and do Trundle to try to counter Scion. And Vladimir just a comfort pick. And that's good. Let's see here. So we'll go ahead and skip the load. I think it took us a second to load into this game. I think as far as our team goes, we got three of our players, Frosty, Rich, Dakota, and Chris, Perna are around Plat Emerald kind of level. And then they had, I want to say they had a couple that were as well. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it ended up being a couple of pretty good games. We're adjusting some settings here, trying to figure some things out. I'll go ahead and skip ahead some. Alrighty. Well, let me get the music going as well. I did have some background music going. Unfortunately, the sound's not coming through because of the way we do it right now. May figure something out for that, but it'll be all right. So in this bottom lane, early on, the Karma poke, the Karma Q, especially the Empower Q, is going to hurt. Definitely going to be something to watch out for. Top lane matchup. Trundle's going to be pretty solid overall at trading. Especially, and they both scale pretty well. Trundle obviously can do a lot of damage, a lot of DPS, a lot of good damage to towers, but as you can see here, that Scion Q hurts. If you get it charged up, it hurts. He's going to use his W shield. It is going to be a little bit tough to trade, but Trundle's obviously going to win out in the long trade. And, you know, just to give anyone context who's watching who doesn't understand the game as much, so Scion, the guy on the red team here for Parkview, this character basically, he gains health as the game goes. So the longer the game goes, the more he farms, the more health he gets. So we actually missed the first blood down here. I'm still getting used to the camera controls at this point. Looks like Dakota here on Talon just got the kill and he's trying to get out with it. They kind of left Rich here behind as Vladimir. I kind of told them to play safe early on, and they went almost a little too safe, but better safe than sorry, so that'll work. We still got Calhoun still got the first blood though, so that's worth it. You get extra gold for getting that first blood. Anytime you see that red background, that's me switching to the mid laner. Like I said, we didn't have that feed this game, but we did have it for the second game. So Morgana here for Devil's Advocate does have a good long range stun snare ability. And as you may have seen, Zeri, the enemy AD carry, they can damage through walls, so that's what she was doing. Might be good for us to do like a good overview video of the game just with some basic concepts, but I'll also talk about that as we go, just in case any parents or anyone who's, again, is not familiar with the game. I do want it to be kind of, that's a big point of trying to review and shoutcast, is to try to help everybody understand what's going on. Fortunately, my throat's already sore from coaching and yelling, but we'll see. We'll get through it. So we just saw a pretty good trade between Trundle and Scion. Trundle almost died, went under tower. Scion took a couple tower shots, got really low, so Dakota here on Talon's going to try to maybe sneak over and make something happen, but Sion's still just too tanky. And he's got that shield, so he's going to survive that with no problem. It looks like he's still trying to get it. I think at this point I was telling him to just go farm, but sometimes you do get kills, sometimes you do get dives, so that's good. Also, for anyone that's kind of doesn't understand the game as well, so as you see here, Clueless, Russ is trying to get the last hits. He wants to be the one to actually kill the minion, because you get gold by doing that. So there we go. So there's some more Zeri poke through the wall there. Some more of that Karma poke. It's definitely going to do a good bit of damage. Meanwhile, we got Dakota over here grabbing the, I guess they're called grubs. This is a kind of a new concept with this recent season. Back in the day, for several years in this pit that he's in now, it was only a mega boss that's late game. But then they added a mid game boss, and then recently they added these guys that spawn there even in their super early game. So it's kind of like a extra little neutral objective to take. All right, so Varus here on Clueless champion here does have a good long range poke ability. That's his Q. It's pretty good. So really with this matchup, there is a lot of kind of long range poke going on. Not really as much all out fights. Looks like everybody's kind of just farming up right now. Sometimes the tempo of League is a little bit slower. You kind of want to just farm. Still 1-1 right now, but yeah, the farm, as it's called, the minions, the farm, the CS, that's where you get a lot of your gold from, and so that is very valuable. So in addition to Trundle here, Perna's champion Trundle, in addition to just doing a lot of damage over time, he also is running a I believe they're called runes still, or yeah, I think they're called runes, to where the longer he attacks somebody, if he stays on top of him and keeps going, he gets this little red ring around him, and that basically means his attack speed even kind of grows over time. So that's really nice. So once again, Trundle is going to be really happy about those long extended trades, whereas Scion kind of wants to poke, and that's generally what you see with most champions. Most champions are either kind of poke or burst, like they kind of just like a poke champion just wants to do a little bit of damage here and there and then kind of just walk away. A burst champion wants to get in there and just explode and do a bunch of damage and then leave. Whereas more DPS champions, damage per second, like Trundle, they want to stay in the fight and go as long as possible. So we see here, Devil's Advocate, Will is looking at the support item. One thing we were talking about that's also almost every season, almost every year, they make some pretty significant changes to the items, and that includes the support items. I know one thing they did, they used to have mythic items, which was like one big item that you bought. Now they just have, they took those away. So we got a good Q. We got a good Q off on Morgana there. And some good follow-up damage from Russ there. Looks like Dakota's trying to get in enemy jungle and maybe steal some of their camps. They do try to punish him for it. And it looks like their top laner had actually recalled. He was already had recalled to the base, and he was already coming back. So it looks like they kind of collapsed on there. That's probably, Dakota wasn't expecting that. Wasn't expecting the 3v2. Hoping it was going to be a 2v2, if anything. So we got these are wards over here that Morgana is placing. It was kind of funny to, I can use their champion name or their summoner name or their real name. I don't know which one ends up making the most sense. I guess most people watching kind of like to hear the people, maybe. I feel like it's customary in most shoutcasting, like professionals, to like use their gamer tag, maybe. So maybe I'll stick with that. So we got Devil's Advocate landing a Q here on the Zeri. We get a follow-up ultimate from the Varus, which is going to snare, but it looks like the enemy Zinjo, the enemy jungler, had showed up, so looks like a disadvantageous situation, and luckily they did the right thing and backed off there. Now that we got our streaming set up, I don't have to watch over their shoulders anymore, and I can actually see the game better, which allows me to kind of coach them in situations like that. I can say, okay, actually back up. They got a 3. So that's pretty good. So it looks like Talon was maybe looking under a tower again. I didn't really see what was going on there. We were looking bottom lane. But Dakota going to use this opportunity to get in that pit and clear those grubs again. And one thing worth mentioning too is you see the little red circle means that the enemy has vision there at the bottom. But that champion, Talon, can actually jump over walls. So he kind of tried to sneak his way into the pit. Oh, and this was a hilarious moment too. He got caught by the Akali. He probably showed. And he used his ult to go invisible and try to get away. And the Akali thought he was going the other way. And so she actually flashed. And so she actually wasted her flash. Looks like Chris and Rich show up here to help clean up there. So really good play by the team there. Working together. Oh, it looks like Clueless stopped the Zeri recall there. Let's keep farming it up in the meantime. Score is actually, we got 2 kills for Calhoun, 4 for Parkview. Not really sure how the CS is going. Not sure how the farm is. That's always a big part of it. It does not show you how much gold everyone has, but really, ultimately, gold is pretty much what it boils down to. I mean, the towers you have, you know, stuff like that matters, but really gold is you know, the more gold you have, the more items you have, that's the stronger you are. That's what it comes down to. So even if you don't have a lot of kills, I mean, if you have a bunch of farm, if you've been farming minions and towers, then you might still have more gold than someone who has a bunch of kills. So up here in the top lane, Perna keeping up the pressure on the Scion. It's a little risky right now. He doesn't have a ward. I think I'll probably let him know at some point, but generally pretty good there. The more pressure you apply, the harder it can be for the enemy to farm. So it's definitely good. It looks like I think I told Devil's Advocate to ward that brush, and it turned out that the enemy jungler was actually waiting in that brush. And I think they actually brought their mid laner down too. Their mid laner roam down. So they had 4 bottom right there. It's because the dragon was spawning. So they were kind of making a good play there. Fortunately, our mid laner, Vladimir, Rich, is actually going to be pushing the mid tower to at least get some damage off there. Dakota going to kind of hold the tower here in the meantime, but it probably means that it's going to be a dragon going over to Parkview. So another piece of context for newer players or just anyone not familiar with the game. So basically, there's the dragon pit that spawns down here on the map. I think every 5 minutes it spawns, and there are different types of dragons that give different buffs. But the big thing is that whenever one of the teams gets 4 dragons, they get a pretty powerful buff. So it's definitely something that it's like an objective, a neutral objective that like both teams are going to have their sights on. So it looks like Perna may have been either probably roaming here, and so Scion tried to take that opportunity to push the wave. Perna's going to try to punish there, but it looks like the Scion was able to use his ultimate to get away. That Scion ultimate is going to be unstoppable, so not much you can do about that, but it is a wasted ability, so it's always good to get that out. Looks like that Trundle's kind of low on mana. Chris is going to be trying to go into the tower here, getting a little aggressive, trying to maybe get some tower aggro off, even though Sion's there. Zinjo shows up, but he manages to get away with a good dodge. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, it looks like they did get a pick down here. Didn't see the full play, unfortunately. And can't do replays, but we got a pick. So, once again, good teamwork. We got Dakota down here helping out. Obviously, another big key part of this game is vision. Always keeping the wards. And here so we got Devil's Advocate placing a ward right here for the vision. Constantly a game of trying to destroy your enemy vision and set up your own. And so it looks like our mid laner, looks like Vladimir was in a fight with the Akali there. Unfortunately, we didn't have his feed. We also get a pause here from Parkview. I think they ended up saying that Zeri had an issue. Yeah, Zeri had a game freeze. I think Zeri's going to restart the client. We'll go ahead and skip ahead since we have the ability to, since this is not live. And we're back. We've got Dakota farming, just farming jungle. We've got good pressure in the outer lanes. You know, it would be interesting too. Well, I'll wait till after this play to say it. So it looks like Dakota's going to try to gank mid. He's going to flash here. Got a good combo there for the finish up. It looks like Rich had already done kind of a lot of the work just to trade and make sure that they were both low. And then he secures the kill here. And actually, speaking of, let's see if I can go back. I want to see this. I like to see I have to rely on the players holding tab to see kind of where we're at in terms of CS at this stage. So we're at about, I think we're at about 15 minutes in. We got pretty even top lane. We got an extra kill, but a little bit more farm over here. They both have their first item. We've got a little bit more CS over here on the jungle, Calhoun jungle. More kills. Looks like the Calhoun mid lane. It looks like Rich has got a little bit more farm, but the Akali's got kills. So they're pretty even. They both have their first item. Let's see here. Bottom lane, it looks like the Zeri's got a little bit of a farm advantage. They both have one kill. Neither one of them have their first item yet. So things are pretty even across the board. However, Parkview does have the 2 dragons. We were a little bit late to ward and set up for those. I'm not sure what this right here means. I'm not sure what that icon means, but yeah, so overall pretty even game so far, I would say. No one's lost any towers or anything. Parkview does have the 2 dragon advantage, 2 kill advantage, but I think Calhoun is kind of farming a little bit better, so still pretty close. And speaking of, it looks like Chris on the Trundle secures that first turret top lane, so you get an extra bonus gold for that. That's always nice. Trundle is a great champion for pushing side lanes and pushing towers. He just absolutely eats towers. So here's this is the kind of the mid game. So we had the grubs in the early game, and then I guess at 15 minutes it turns into the Herald. But it looks like Dakota's gonna jump over the wall. Ignore that for now. He's gonna be looking for this Zeri cleanup kill. Jumps over the wall, dashes to easy cleanup. That's what assassins are meant to do. They want to pick off those squishy low health backlines, and he's just gonna parkour his way out. He's able to basically jump over any terrain, but you see it does turn red and has a cooldown. This is a great race though, but the whole team has seen him here. He tries to jump over the wall, but it's a little bit of an awkward angle. Didn't quite get the angle he was looking for on that. Does get picked off, so kind of a 1-for-1 there, I believe. I think he got the Zeri. They killed him. Sometimes trades are worth it, especially if there's a bounty on the enemy. The more kills a champion gets, the more gold they drop whenever they die. So even if it's 1-for-1, a lot of times that is very much worth it. So we got the top. So basically, it looks like we got the mid tower as well. I think we may have gotten the bot tower here too. So just all that pressure that Trundle was generating top lane, in the fact that basically they had to pull their whole team to come up there and try to stop him, essentially meant that Calhoun was able to get the mid and the bot towers. I mean, so that's just huge. You turn one tower and one lane pressure into more. So that's awesome. You know, I'd say at this stage, Calhoun definitely has the lead. Getting all 3 of those towers, it means extra gold. It means extra map control, extra map pressure. So that's looking really good, even though Parkview does still have the 2 dragons and the 3 kill advantage. Oh, it's like, well, kind of thinking he might be able to sneak in there and get a kill with that vision, but the enemy probably had vision there as well. He's going to take this opportunity to grab the Rift Scholar here. This little guy is going to grant vision, which is really nice. Looks like we do have the next dragon coming up pretty soon. So basically, once towers start to, there are 3 towers in lane, and once they start to fall, well, we'll wait till this fight to explain. So Dakota's hiding in the jungle trying to get something, but it looks like he gets overwhelmed. However, still gets the Zeri pick. Very nice. Looks like he's going to try to heal up, maybe get back in the fight. Looks like Rich is trying to kind of take the brunt of it in the meantime. The rest of the bot lane has showed up. Get another pick on the Zenjo. Akali on the back line, going to pick off the... who did he pick off there? That was going to pick off the Vladimir, and then she's going to get away. She's also an assassin. I mean, assassins are great at getting in and out. It looks like Akali knows that Calhoun is on the dragon, and she's looking to maybe get back in there. However, she runs over a ward, so Calhoun has vision of her. She might just play it safe, and I think walk out here. Calhoun going to secure the Baron, or secure the dragon with a smite, so that's really good for him. With Parkview having 2 dragons, I definitely don't want to give them the 3rd dragon. That definitely sets them up for that 4th. So now that Calhoun has the map control, got a couple picks. I think it was an advantageous fight there. Goes ahead and secures the dragon, so that works out. I was going to say earlier, it's going to be interesting. You know, I'm going to have a kind of a Calhoun bias, and I'm kind of narrating from the Calhoun perspective because, you know, I'm with Calhoun, and that's the players I see. But maybe at some stage we have, you know, maybe we have players and parents from the other teams watching, and maybe I'll take a more neutral perspective. But I mean, for now, if we're watching the Calhoun players, like, I don't mind kind of being biased and kind of almost cheering from them and giving some context as we go. So again, the tempo of the league, you know, you have some exciting moments and big fights, and then you kind of slow down a little bit. People will recall and go grab some more items, kind of farm up. It looks like Chris is kind of keeping that pressure up in top lane. It's very oppressive. Dakota going to be clearing his jungle. It looks like the Calhoun bot lane has rotated mid. It looks like that Parkview is able to grab the Herald, and they're going to run it mid. So basically, whenever you get the Herald, you can summon it or spawn it and do some damage to the enemy tower. So it looks like Parkview is going to seize that opportunity. So meanwhile, it looks like Chris on that channel once again creating a lot of pressure top lane, kind of forcing Parkview to decide, you know, who's going to go help there, who's going to defend mid. So it looks like Parkview is going to have right now 2 defending mid, Akali split pushing bot. Oh, okay. So it looks like Perna was going to try to roam over, got caught by the Zeri. A couple low health there. It looks like we're going to get a fight here. Sion ulting in, very crammed together in the pit. We've got Vladimir jumping in the back line. It looks like, Dakota's going to try to jump out on the Talon. He's got a lot of train resets. He's going to jump out. Unfortunately, didn't get to see what else was going on, but it looks like definitely a bloodbath here. It looks like Vladimir was able to clean up in the back line. And unfortunately, I don't have the Vladimir feed. I think just about everybody else went down. Here we go. We get to see the results of that fight. I think it was a 3-for-3 here, so let's see if I can go back and see that real quick. Dakota's pretty good about looking at the scoreboard, so let's see here. Yeah, it looks like it was a 3-for-3. I think what happened was, I think Chris got picked first, and even though he's farming very well, but he is a little bit behind and he's getting towers. He's a little bit behind in kills, but that's okay. So I think he got picked, but the Sion was low and the Zeri were pretty low. So I think Sion ulted in. I want to say the back line here that Russ and Will were able to take out maybe the Sion. And then I believe they died to someone, probably the rest of them, almost, I'd say. And then Vladimir was in the back line taking out. He ultimately picked up these 2. And let's see. It looks like he's still out there scrapping, but he might be stuck here. It looks like he's trapped. Let's see if he's able to get out. He might have a path out. Zenjo is probably low as well. I hate that I can't see this right now, but in the second game, we do have that mid lane feed. Looks like he is going to get away, so no more kills there. So just a 3-for-3 trade. We may have gotten some, Calhoun may have gotten some mid tower damage, but that's about it. I forgot I can see the health bars down in the bottom right too. You can see everyone's health bars. All right, so that was probably like our first team fight there. Actually, first almost nearly 5v5. Pretty explosive. It's a lot going on. As a kind of a commentator, it can be a kind of a tongue twister trying to really focus on what all is happening. A lot of times, it's even worth doing replays and kind of doing a breakdown of what all happened there. That may be something that we'd look to do at some point as well. I guess technically I could reverse it. I don't know it depends on who I was focused on though. Actually, kind of gonna try it real quick. Let's see. So we're at like 42 minutes. Let's backtrack a little bit and see if we can kind of make a little bit more sense of what happened there. Okay, so we got Trundle. I guess, yeah, y'all can see my mouse cursor. So we got Trundle like pressuring, and then he's going to rotate. But we don't have vision there. So he is low, and boom, he just steps into the brush. Enemy Zeri is there, pretty much just pops him immediately, tries to dash away. Dakota's going to try to jump on the Zeri here. Going to do about a third of her health before Silence shows up, so he's going to back up. And then now Varus position a little bit forward there. Sion's going to ult in, so Varus is going to flash out. He is going to try to use his ult, but it looks like it actually misses. We get the, I believe this is Morgana here, kind of just in the middle of the fray. So Vladimir's going to blood pull and just try to do a lot of AoE damage here. It looks like, yeah, Morgana's going to get exploded there. Maybe if you have like a stopwatch on the Morgana, you would maybe survive longer there. So this is where the fight kind of splits in two. We got Vladimir kind of jumping on the back line here. He picks out the Zeri, and he's going to be chasing down Karma. Meanwhile, we've got Dakota here. So Sion actually dies, but Sion has basically his passive means whenever he dies, he actually comes back alive as a zombie for a little bit to do more damage. So we get a knock up here on Dakota. Dakota's going to try to flash. He's going to try to jump, and then that begins his great escape. Presumably, yeah, it looks like Akali is able to chase down Varus for that kill. And we know the rest from here. So basically, yeah, it looks like, and then meanwhile, Vladimir is able to chase down the Karma and get that kill. So overall, 3 for 3. Pretty good stuff. So let's see if we can jump back ahead a little bit here to where we were. I think we were about at like 41 somewhere here. So it looks like everybody has kind of reset, respawned, bought some items, and we're back at it. So really at this stage, Baron, the Baron buff, very powerful buff. That's actually up here in the top pit. That spawns at 20 minutes, so that is live. But you typically won't see teams going for it unless they have a big advantage, unless they like want to force a fight, or unless they've already like eliminated several enemy members. Then they'll go for it. The dragon will be coming up shortly, though. I didn't see that. I think it's still, I want to say it's still 1 to 2 in terms of dragons. We'll wait and see. So once again, so you see Talon here is going to try to sweep for the enemy vision, try to get rid of any enemy vision, and then he's going to set up the, he's going to go and grab the scuttle. It looks like we make the call to go Baron here because Trundle is pushing bot lane down here, and I think we saw 2 people on Parkview show up, so we say, okay, well, if they got 2 people on bot, let's go for Baron. So Dakota kind of trips the Baron, trying to kill the ward. We get Baron pretty low, but it looks like by this time, their team has had the chance to run across the map. So we make the call to back off of Baron, let Baron regenerate. So meanwhile, we'll slow it down for just a second. So meanwhile, Trundle's going to keep pushing. It looks like Sion was on the flank. He may have ulted to get over there. A little bit of an awkward position for Calhoun. A couple of them get picked off. Oh, man. Akali's in the back line, but Vladimir's holding him off. Dakota's going to pop the Zanyas and then jump out. Vladimir going to pick up another kill on the Zeri. It looks like they get a kill on the Sion as well. We still have some terrain to jump over here. And it looks like Vladimir's in the back line. Karma is going to go down. Good play by Talon to get on top of it there. It looks like Parkview is going to try to back up here. Vladimir and Talon on top. 2 kills there. That's an ace. That is a 2 for 5. Huge, huge play for Calhoun. And the Trundle, meanwhile, was getting towers and inhibitors this entire time. So this is probably one of the most pivotal plays here. I think Calhoun was probably a little ahead already, just because of plays. We'll take stock here. So it looks like it's like the kills are even. It's like 16 to 15 even after that. However, Calhoun has only lost 1 tower, whereas Parkview has lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So really it's 1 tower to 7 towers, which means Calhoun has a lot of gold from towers. They pretty much have control of the map. And what that means is, like what you're seeing here, Dakota's taking the opportunity to clear the enemy jungle, take that gold away from them. It looks like, meanwhile, Rich may have been staying a little bit far behind, just maybe trying to get some of their farm and some of their jungle. He gets caught. Dakota does convert and take the Akali himself, but so a little 1 for 1 there. So pretty good game so far. You know, fairly even. Like I said, I think the Trundle, the pressure on the side lanes, just the objective advantage, really focusing those towers is really what's gotten the edge for Calhoun here. You know, their kills aren't higher. Their CS probably isn't way too much higher. We can look at it. We can actually try to see real quick. Let's have a look at the scoreboard. Oh, he goes too fast. I can't see it. Oh, there we go. Okay, so yeah, see it like farm wise looks like Calhoun. Yeah, the pretty big jungle advantage right here. People might say jungle diff. Dakota's definitely got a lot of kills, a lot of farm, a lot of map control. We got more CS here. It looks like their bot lane does have a little more CS. And then yeah, we definitely see the 8-2 towers. That's pretty huge. I mean, that's probably where most of the advantage is coming from. We do have the 2-2 dragons. So even though Parkview got the first 2 dragons, having that map pressure in those towers allowed Calhoun to grab 2 more. And this is the Hextech dragons, I believe. And the Hextech, so basically what happens is whatever the 3rd dragon is, every dragon from there on will be that dragon. And it will also do some transformations to the map. And so whenever the Hextech dragon comes out, it has these little portals like you kind of see up here. And there was actually a couple of plays this game where that actually did end up mattering. So it's pretty cool. Alrighty, so yeah, so Calhoun has taken the bot lane inhibitor, and that spawns the super minions. So for anybody that's not familiar with League, maybe sound like I'm speaking gibberish, but so basically we spawn the super minions, Calhoun does, and that's going to help basically put even more pressure on that lane. And so now it looks like Trundle is pushing top lane, trying to get some pressure over there. Chris doing a great job in the side lanes. Honestly, this so far, even though he only has 1 kill, I'd almost say he's the MVP of this game just because of that map pressure and absolutely eating those towers. It looks like he's pushed pretty far. I probably should have switched the camera here because he is like a 1v3, I believe, unless it looks like Vladimir's out there with him. And they're doing totally fine by themselves. I think at this stage, I actually may have just left the camera locked on Dakota, and I may have been standing up for a little bit just to see what that was like. And so we get a great cleanup here. Chris starts the fight and kind of aggroes multiple of them, but Rich follows up, and then Dakota follows up, and it ends up being probably, there you go, that's a 1 for 4. So yeah, I think Calhoun really ahead here. We really have the gold advantage, really have the item advantage, and so it's really just kind of about trying to close out here. And I think this should be the opportunity to go ahead and do that. We're going to, the rest of the team's going to grab, looks like Russ and Chris and Will are going to grab the mid lane, tower, and inhibitor. We're going to go straight for the win. Of course, that's not as clean sometimes. Dakota's being a little BM here, trying to kill somebody in the fountain, but it looks like we are going to get that Nexus. And Calhoun's going to take game 1. So good game there. MVP to Chris, probably. Great side lane pressure. Even though I was there just a few hours ago, I appreciate the opportunity to kind of watch it again, kind of get that hindsight and see what all was going on. So let's look at the after end of game stats here. So this is a pretty big category. We got damage. Looks like Rich did absolutely a ton of damage here. He's got a bunch of kills, a lot of damage, good CS. But all the same, it looks like Chris on that Trundle almost had the most gold, even still, just because of how many towers he had eaten. Dakota definitely did a great job too. Good damage, good kill participation, really great job. And bot lane also held their own, kept the pressure. Definitely didn't allow themselves to get too far behind. So a good game 1 win for Calhoun there. So these are best 2 out of 3. So it looks like we'll have a little bit of an intermission here. I'll go ahead and probably skip ahead to game 2 here. We'll just see here. We'll skip ahead to the draft a little bit. So Calhoun's going to ban the Zed, the Neferi again. Just based on, we can see the Parkview players like match history, and we know what champions they're good at. So we decided to drop those again. We dropped the Dragon. Parkview's going to drop the Kaisa. I'm not sure who that's targeted at. I think that's targeted probably at Dakota. He's been playing that recently. The Vara is probably targeted at Clueless. Just because he played it the last game and he's pretty comfortable. The Wukong band's going to come across, and that's probably targeted at Chris Perna. So those are the 3 bands for each team in the first stage. It looks like Parkview, since I think they are blue side this time, they get to pick first. So they're going to grab the Trundle to try to take that away from Perna. I think they realized how strong that was, and they had a player that maybe feels fairly comfortable on it. So they're going to try to first pick that Trundle to take it away. Calhoun's going to follow up by go ahead and grabbing the Vladimir again. Just another good pick, comfort pick for Rich there. And obviously not the person who picked the champ is actually playing it, because you can actually swap. So sometimes what we do is we pick for each other and then they swap. Looks like we're going to go ahead and grab the Morgana again. That's another good comfort pick. Get a little strong champion for Will. Since they banned the Varus, we're going to... Russ is going to try out Jin here. That's another good champion for him. Back over to Parkview. They're going to grab the Orianna this game. I think that was the same guy who played Akali. He's going to grab Orianna. And the guy who played Zeri is going to try to switch it up. Maybe try the Xayah out. And now that we have 3 picks each, we're going to go back to the ban phase to ban the last 2 champions. Looks like we are last minute picking here. We're going to ban the Udyr last minute. They do have an Udyr player. They do have someone that's pretty good on Udyr. Let's see here. And so Parkview is going to go ahead and ban Talon, and which was directed at Dakota. Eloy, maybe that's directed at Perna, not sure. Calhoun's going to ban Zenjo, who the Parkview jungler played last game. Looks like in order to counterpick the Trundle, it looks like Perna, we were talking about Jax here, as well as a couple others. We end up going Jax here. Jax is just another champion like Trundle that's just really good in 1v1s, can do a lot of DPS, and can kind of hold his own. So that's a pretty decent pick, and he can also kind of out-trade him a little bit. So that's pretty solid. It looks like Parkview's going to try Kayn this game. Kayn's a pretty solid champion. He can run through walls. And they're going to try Soraka, who is a healer. It looks like we were hovering Vi here because Dakota was trying to decide what he wanted. I think he ended up narrowing it down to Viego or Pantheon, and we ended up going with Viego. So everybody's going to be checking their runes. We're going to be switching champions, and we're going to head over to the Rift for game number 2. I wonder if I can show actually. Well, let's see if I can. We were in a faster load screen. I wanted to at least show who the other players were. I don't think I've highlighted that yet. Yeah, so for Parkview, we have I support only. Top lane, we've got SH Jawani in jungle. We've got Draxu in mid, Isothermic in bot, and 4 stars in support. And so for Calhoun, we've got Perna top lane, Coda Dak in jungle, Frosty Piles in mid, Clueless in AD carry, and Devil's Advocate in support. Alrighty, game number 2. We're just going to do a nice... Calhoun's going to do a nice fan out. We are on the top side of the map this time. It switches sides. So we're just going to make sure that no one's invading. There's no monsters, no camps that spawn this early in the game. So just kind of waiting on the camps to spawn. And then we're off. So early game definitely can be a little bit slower at times, depending. Definitely a lot about farming and trading. So for laners, they kind of have to do a balance. They have to make sure they're last hitting minions, but they're also trying to trade damage to the opponent and maybe set up what's called a gank. So anytime both teams have a jungler who is not in the lane, who just farms camps in the jungle, and they look for opportunities to gank the lanes to try to get an advantage there. So it looks like Dakota on Viego going to start top side here. Going to grab red into Krugs, head over to chickens, raptors. Pretty even trades happening across the board so far. You see Jax has his E ability there. Basically, while he is spinning his staff, he cannot be auto-attacked, so that's really good against Trundle. And then at the end, he can stun, so it's a pretty good ability. Looks like Dakota's going to head mid for an early gank here. I may have switched away, unfortunately. I should have kept the camera on mid lane. It looks like they're going to try to get on the Orianna. They're going really far. Dakota does not have any minions here, and if you damage the enemy near the minions, you're going to take a lot of damage. He's going to charge up an E there, and it's going to flash, but Orianna meets it with a flash of her own. Rich actually follows up, dives in, ends up securing the kill. So flash for Calhoun jungle, flash for Parkview, gone. first blood picked up for Calhoun. Always big. Extra gold there. Looks like Dakota's going to head straight to top lane. But the Trundle must have known that he had it there. And he may have overstayed his welcome. But it looks like, yeah, with Jax there, Trundle's going to back off. Dakota's going to see if maybe they can get something there. But it looks like the enemy jungler has showed up. So maybe he overstayed there. Let's see what happens here. I don't know if Chris can get anything out of this. And I lost the camera, but it looks like he did pick up the Trundle at least. And let's see if he can get away. No, Kane's going to... The Parkview Kane is going to flash to make sure he can grab that kill. So we're at 2 for 2. It looks like with this comp, with Parkview running the Xayah and Soraka, they have pretty good wave. They have pretty good wave clear, so they're going to be kind of pressuring and pushing in the wave here under tower, which can be difficult for Calhoun's bot lane to farm. And as you see, like for example, the tower is going to damage the minions. So as you see, he just lost. He wasn't able to get those 2 minions because the tower took it instead. So that's definitely one advantage of pushing the lane in. I know I was constantly saying to watch out for the Xayah feathers too. You always got to be careful with that because she can pull him back through to stun or snare, I think. Dakota is back farming bot side. I think he cleared top side, ganked mid, ganked top, recalled, and now he's actually clearing his bot side for the first time. He's got a little bit extra gold from those assists, so he's going to be able to... He was able to scoop up 2 long swords. That's pretty nice. He's going to go in for a bottom gank, but I think Parkview bot lane may have known, and we weren't really able to bait them as well. Like anytime you have a gank, you definitely want to try to like set up the play, try to bait the enemy into fighting, and then turns out you have the advantage. But it doesn't work out. That's okay. Looks like, especially since we're on blue side, we kind of have the advantage with the dragon pit because it does open up to our side. Dakota's going to go ahead and take advantage of that, try to go ahead and solo that dragon, but I do see Kane is showing up there. So let's see what he decides to do. He's going to try to back up. Meanwhile, Orianna doing some really good trades mid. I think at this point we try to tell bot lane to flex over and help out with the dragon. Looks like the wave is in a neutral state there, but they can give up a little bit. It's going to be kind of a smite fight, so basically both junglers have a burst of damage they can do. Dakota wins the smite fight, but Kane gets stuck in the pit. He tried to get out, but he either intentionally or unintentionally got stuck. And so they're going to try to pick up the Kane, but he does heal a lot. And the Soraka, when she shows up, is going to heal him even more. So Dakota's going to end up going down there. Unfortunately, it looks like they picked off the Morgana as well. So Calhoun gets the dragon, but Parkview gets 2 kills. So I'd say in the short term, that's probably a better trade for Parkview, but getting the dragon is definitely going to be good in the long term for Calhoun. So still pretty even top lane. We're getting some good trades in, but like when I watched that right there, I'm thinking like if I were Jax, I probably would overcommit there. But Trundle, I think it has level 6 here, so we have to be a little careful because Trundle can definitely return a lot of that damage. It takes Jax some time to scale up to actually get his attack speed up, but Trundle's kind of good to go. And I know Chris had said he hadn't been playing the game a whole lot, so he may have just not been feeling as kind of aggressive or confident there, which is all good. Especially when you're playing Jax, you're totally happy to just kind of farm and go to late game. So it looks like Dakota is going to try to come grab the grubs here. Chris had pressure top lane, but he does recall there. And Rich does have pressure mid, so that's pretty good. He gets 2 of them, but Kane shows up. It looks like Rich is going to flex over from mid lane to try to help out. Let's see if he can get there in time. So I think Kane knows. Orianna probably told him that he was leaving, so Kane decides to leave. Dakota finishes off the Herald, but it looks like the Trundle is here. And oh no, they get Orianna ulted, so now it's 1 for 1. Vladimir picks up the kill on Kane, but he might be in danger here. So that looks like a 1 for 2 in favor of Parkview. But Calhoun did pick up the grubs though, so another kind of sort of even trade there probably. Might be a little bit more, I think it might be a little bit more gold in the short term. I don't really know how much gold the grubs gives you or what all that gives you. So once again, the Calhoun bottom lane here is kind of wants to stay back and kind of poke for the most part. Whereas the Parkview bot lane kind of is likes to get a little bit more aggressive and in your face. Maybe try to pull the feathers through, heal it back up with the Soraka. But yeah, overall, definitely kind of advise our bot lane to kind of just kind of play a little bit more passive, keep it chill, and we'll try to make plays as a team and that kind of thing. Maybe if we see somebody tab, we can look at the minion counts again. But there you go. Even under tower, Russ doing a good job of trying to farm here. He does get the feathers pulled through, so it is pretty annoying. Meanwhile, it looks like they did a lane swap. Rich went to top lane, and Chris went to mid lane. It looks like Rich able to make short work of the Trundle in that top lane. Obviously, whenever you're up there as a Vladimir versus the Trundle, you've got the range advantage. Vladimir is a range champion, and Trundle is a short range melee champion. So that's going to be a tough. And so Rich is going to pick up that kill. He's going to go ahead and push in the lane and try to get the tower. Looks like, meanwhile, Dakota trying to gank mid, maybe get a kill on the Orianna, but doesn't quite work out. Kane has showed up and is going to be chasing him down. Let's see if he decides to keep chasing. Looks like no, he's going to back off there. Looks like the kill score is even, 6-5 pretty much. We're 10 minutes in. We'd have to check the scoreboard to see the total. But I'd say we're probably still... Oh, we saw a scoreboard there. Let's see if I can go back and see it. Oh, I keep missing it. Dang it. Here we go. Let's try again. Wait for it. Did I already skip it? I'm going to get it. Okay. This is the last time. If I don't see it, I think we already missed it. Oh, there it... Oh, no. Oh, no, I'm spending way too much time. I want to see the scoreboard. All right, it was like at 1:19 and 30 seconds. People just look at the scoreboard very rapidly and then close it out. All right, okay, forget it. Yeah, during the gameplay, unfortunately, it's the only way I can see the scoreboard is whenever the players do it to check items or whatever. We'll see if I can catch another one. Dakota, he might look at the scoreboard. Oh, man. Meanwhile, Chris tries to get aggressive there. Orianna, I think she may have ignited there, so he wasn't really able to finish him off. May have not been as familiar with that matchup and how strong that she was. I don't know who has the most kills right now. But Orianna from Parkview does get that kill. Dakota's going to flex mid to try to hold that tower and get that gold from that wave. Meanwhile, bot and top going to keep that pressure up. It looks like Parkview has recalled to heal up and buy some items. I think they're Calhoun has decided to switch lanes again. We're gonna let Jax go back top and let Rich go back mid. Got a good Morgana Q there. The Soraka is pretty aggressive. Look, their bot lane is pretty aggressive. She's gonna pop Ghost there and really try to make a play out of it. Morgana's gonna have to flash there. Always gotta watch out for those feathers. And we do get a gank from Dakota. We're gonna do the Jhin ult, which is a really good view to see everything. And it looks like Dakota's gonna finish that kill up. And let's see if they can make two out of it. Looks like yes, they... Oh, maybe 2 flashes. So it's gonna be a 2-for-1 in favor of Calhoun there. Hope I can get a scoreboard here. I'm gonna have to start telling the players to open the scoreboard so we can see it more. Oh, we're gonna get it. Here we go. 21-21. Let's see if I can get it. Ah, got it. All right, here we go. So we're at about, I think about 12 minutes in the game. Looks like top lane has an extra kill and a little bit of CS. Mid is fairly even in terms of kills and CS, except Dakota has died a few more times. Looks like the Orianna has been able to get a little bit more CS, but Vladimir has been able to get an extra kill. The Xayah is got 3 kills and a good bit of CS, so that's pretty oppressive. That's going to be hard to deal with in the bottom lane, but I would say Overall, probably a Calhoun advantage here, even though the kills are even. I would say Calhoun. Well, I don't know. I mean, Parkview has some good CS, and they have kills in the right places on the right champions, and they have that gold. Calhoun does have the 2 dragons, so I would say fairly even at this point. Still a fairly even game. So Jin's gonna keep working on that Stormrazor. So it looks like we've got Calhoun's got 3, 3, and 4 plates left on their towers. Parkview's got 5, 5, and 2, I think. So no towers have gone down yet. Once again, Dakota going to grab the grub, so he's been doing great buff control this game, making sure we're getting those neutral objectives. 2 dragons and 3 grubs, I believe. Uh-oh, it looks like he might have gotten caught, though. We get the Orianna teleport, but look at that. It looks like the 3rd dragon was a Hextech again, which means we get the Hextech gates, and Dakota intelligently uses that to his advantage to get out. So Orianna kind of wasted her flash there. Gonna go right back to farming. So yeah, still all game Parkview bottom lane really shoving in, making it difficult for Calhoun to farm. And now we know that Xayah has the 3 kills, and she is definitely... Calhoun's not looking to fight in this bottom lane, not without all help, but it looks like we actually have some stuff going up top lane. I don't know exactly what sequence, but it ends up being a 2 for 2. They're able to take out the Parkview top laner and also the jungler, so great 2 for 2 there. Dakota and Chris able to make some good plays. And it looks like they might try to go ahead and finish off this top tower here. That's going to actually even out the kill score. Morgana lands a nice Q. We were joking about we were joking with Russ on this one and kind of missing the W to follow it up. He's farming pretty good under tower. It looks like Calhoun is able to take the Parkview top tower again, so that pressure's really nice. It looks like Herald is going to spawn. Dakota going to try to go ahead and solo that. We'll see if he's able to sneak it before the enemy Kayn. It looks like someone is showing up right now, so that might be close. It's not the Kayn that shows up, it's the Trundle. If it was the Kayn, it might have been a 50-50 for that. But able to secure that Herald. It's going to be nice. Going to run that into a tower. So close to landing that Q there. Bottom lane doing a really good job here. Holding their own, trying to get as much CS as possible. Playing safe, playing defensive, even though the Xayah is ahead. Allowing Dakota to make plays on other sides of the map. The Parkview bot lane has been playing pretty aggressive, but they just really have not been able to make anything happen. And so I did advise them here. I said, hey, you know, if Parkview is pushing up that close, they're going to be trapped. They're going to be trapped in there with nowhere to go. That's a great time for a Gen ult, so they do that, and that's great. But it looks like Parkview trying to make a play here. They're going to bring 4 people bot lane, potentially look for a dive, but fortunately we had just done damage to their bot lane. Get them off. We got the Kayn here. Dakota fighting the Kayn. Our bot lane jumps in, but Orianna shows up with ult, does a lot of damage. Morgana's down. We kill the Xayah on her tower. Clueless manages to stay alive using his summoner spells, heal and flash. Kayn and Dakota still fighting. Jin's going to come help clean that up with a crit. So that ends up being a 1 for 3 in Calhoun's favor. And Calhoun gets a mid tower. So very good play for Calhoun. I would say after something like that, Calhoun's definitely at the advantage here. They're even pushing tier 2 towers. They're pushing bot tower. And dragons coming up. So just like huge. I think Parkview was really trying to make a play there. I wouldn't necessarily say it was a desperation play, but it was a risky play because they were kind of sacrificing their top and mid to try to make a play bot. And it just didn't pay off for them thanks to that really good Gen ult before they were able to collapse. So it looks like with the help of the Herald and Jin pushing, we do get Calhoun gets the bot tower. So that means 3 towers for Calhoun, 0 for Parkview. Calhoun is looking to grab dragon number 3, but the Parkview jungler is there, and he's actually going to steal it. He's going to steal that dragon away. So good play from the Parkview jungler. But however, the Parkview bot lane has gotten baited into showing up, and so now there looks like pretty slim pickings, pretty easy pickings there for Calhoun. Calhoun's going to jump on top of him. They're going to be able to take 1, 2, 3 kills, and maybe even 4 here. We'll see if they can get kill number 4. They're trying to chase the Orion down, and they're going to get it. So even though Parkview was able to get that dragon, it looks like they maybe the Parkview jungler kind of baited in the rest of his team into trying to come help with the fight. Rather than just letting him steal the dragon and get out, it looks like the rest of the team showed up. They got kind of caught. They got run down. Calhoun's very fast here. Kane's going to try to show up and maybe try to defend the bot tower. By this time, he had respawned, it looks like, is what it was. So we may have overstayed here trying to get that bot tower. Maybe try to skirmish a little bit, but it looks like Clueless is out of mana. Vladimir's pretty low in health, and so they're going to go ahead and just try to get out while they can. And luckily, they do have a tower to retreat to here. So yeah, this stage, Calhoun looking really good. Jin's gotten some gold and some kills. Calhoun's up by 4 with the 3 towers. Didn't get the dragon, but still looking pretty good here. I'd say this probably amounts to at least like a 2 or 3k gold lead is what it probably feels like. So Jin's gonna try to maybe either pick up the rapid fire or the infinity edge here. Keep spinning that gold and get stronger. So now with all the tower advantage, Calhoun's going to be really looking to kind of take over the map with the vision, take over the enemy camps, look for some more like picks. And Jax, Chris is doing that just, that is exactly what he's trying to do top lane. And there's Dakota trying to take the enemy camps. Parkview's trying to kind of get in the jungle and defend some of their camps, but it is very difficult whenever the lanes are pushing to them. They kind of have to, at some point, they have to choose between defending their camps and defending their towers. Morgana's going to land a nice Q here. Jin's going to follow up with a Q. Jin's got a lot of damage now that he's got his items, and it looks like botlane's going to try to fight here. Jin goes ult. Another good Morgana ult, too. They're going to be able to make that pick, and so great play from the bottom lane. Now, it looks like Kane has showed up way in the bottom lane, and it looks like they're going to pay the price for it. Since Kane decided to show up bot lane, they left Calhoun to just push, and they went top lane. They got a kill. They probably like 2 or 3v1. They're the Parkview top laner. Unfortunate for them. Parkview going to lose a top tower and a top inhibitor, so that's just huge. Just really good macro play by Calhoun here, and probably a little bit of a macro blunder by Parkview by committing. I mean, whenever you're getting your second tier tower pushed, as a Kane, you definitely don't want to be that far out. I just don't think it's going to be worth it, even if you do manage to get a kill or 2. So Calhoun took advantage of that, gets another tower. Now up 6 kills. So this is looking really good for Calhoun. Calhoun's probably up by, I would say probably about 4 or 5k gold lead at this point. So that's pretty substantial. So now Chris, that he has gotten the top lane inhibitor, you really don't want to push any farther than that, so he's going to switch and try to pressure the bot side now. And so what's good about this too is it's same as last game. If Parkview decides to commit more than one resource to trying to stop that Jax, which they probably will need to do since he's so strong at 1v1, then Calhoun can maybe use that opportunity to try to look for the Baron. And so it looks like they've done just that. They have committed 2 resources to bot, including the jungler. So let's see if Calhoun decides to try to go for the Baron here. I know a dragon was coming up, so we may not have made the call. But it looks like Vladimir is going to try to go pick the Xayah in the 1v1, and that should be pretty easy to do. He should be pretty ahead. I did have the mid laner feed this game, but I don't think I was used to using it. It looks like we're not going to maybe rush the Baron, but we are going to be looking for a dragon here. Dragon will be coming up soon here. That'd be dragon number 3 for Calhoun. And so Vladimir looks like Rich is going to keep that pressure top lane and kind of force Parkview to make a decision about how they want to defend. It looks like the mid tower is going to be low as well, and they are positioned to probably go ahead and grab that with Vladimir collapsing in. Morgana pushing the tower. It looks like Dakota and Chris are able to get a pick on the enemy Kayn. It looks like Morgana and Vladimir are able to get, Calhoun's able to take the Parkview tier 2 mid tower. It looks like Calhoun's going to take 2 to Dragon. It looks like they're going to stick 2 in the base to just fight the whole Parkview team. Rich and Dakota just absolutely skirmishing right now. I wish I had put the camera on them earlier. They might have taken out a little bit more than they can chew, though. But let's see here. He might be able to use the Hextech gate to get out. No. But he is going to try to pop the Xayah. He gets it. Does end up falling, but he has distracted Parkview long enough and gotten kills. So Calhoun's going to get the Dragon. They're also going to get a bot tower. And Chris makes out like a bandit here, grabbing the tower and jumping right out. But he's not done yet. He's going to turn around and fight. And I was telling him here to bait them. Bait them. We've got our team here. Let's try to fight. And so it looks like Kane's going to jump in the backline here. So it is a pretty tough fight without having Dakota and Vladimir, who have a lot of our goals. So we do end up losing the Jax here. And let's see if we lose anything else. Yeah, might have been a little bit more that we can chew there. You know, even though the team overall is really out of lead, a lot of our gold and a lot of our advantage is on Dakota and Rich. So not having them there means that a little bit riskier play than we probably wanted. We lose one, Calhoun loses one, but definitely marginal loss compared to the advantage. So it looks like Dakota here, he's stacking his lethality item, doing a ton of damage, and he is just out for blood. He is going to 1v2. He is going to 1v3. He gets a double kill, and he is looking for more. He's going to jump on the Orianna, get the ult resets, and there's a triple 1 for 3 on the Viego. Very nice from Dakota there. When you're that far ahead, and you've got those resets, and you're on a champion like Viego, there really is nothing stopping you there. So he's going to go ahead, while he's down there, going to go ahead and try to grab that bot inhibitor. Looks like he gets the inhibitor, and he's trying to go all the way. He almost gets a solo ace. He almost gets kill number 4. It looks like they do take him out, but he was able to draw pressure and distract Parkview so that Calhoun can try to pick up the Baron here. And it looks like that will be pretty easy secure for them here. So definitely worth it. Calhoun continues to expand their lead despite maybe dying 1 or 2 times here or there. So I'd say with that Baron buff, and I think that's the 3rd dragon there, Calhoun is looking really good now. A huge tower advantage. Parkview is not even taking a tower yet, so this is looking very grim for Parkview. It looks like Calhoun gets a pick on the Kayn there, and that's going to take him out. We've got the Baron empowered waves. Very difficult for Parkview to deal with. This siege minion can just sit outside of their range and just barrage their tower. And it looks like they're able to take it out. And we have Calhoun has the super minions in the bot lane. And now we're going to try to maybe siege the top lane. We were kind of getting on to Dakota here, like he's over here taking camps in our jungle when we need to be pressuring, but he's moving up fast enough. Chris is pushing top on Jax. It's going to be very hard for them to deal with. Calhoun is up almost double kills here, 27 to 16. Can Parkview turn it around at this stage? So, looks like Jax does one of the few champions that can probably run over Trundle in the 1v1. Rich is going to jump in, do a ton of AoE damage, let the rest of the team catch up, and it looks like Calhoun is just going to clean house. Dakota just absolutely jumping under tower, getting those Viego resets, basically becoming those enemy champions. He does eventually fall after going a little bit hard, but I don't think there's anything left for Parkview to really do here. It is 3v1. It is a ton of Baron minions. It is going to be the Nexus. It is going to be game 2, and it is going to be an overall series win for Calhoun over Parkview. Alrighty. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. This was pretty fun for me. I hope you all enjoyed it. Hopefully we'll be able to do more like this in the future. And we'll leave it there. Thanks all for watching.